Awesome. Okay, can you stay there with them? Oh, you're in silence. Okay, fine. You can stay anywhere you like. That's good. And these people, they're really switched on. Their handling. Week 2 is very tough. The toughest week.
I noticed that even within our training, within myself, but it's interesting to be on the other side of it as a teacher, because it's hard to gauge.
This is when we need to give them more.
Yes.
Week 2, you need to give them more. You have to hold the space for them strongly.
Just be there for questions or go easier on them.
Yeah. And hold the space
I tried
strongly.
to have an easier class last night.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need to let them rest. Give them a chance to. Or sometimes give them energy. Raise the positivity. Make them do things that are fun so that they take their mind off of the experiences. Something like sometimes I put music on, dance and stuff. Just things to cut it a little.
And something I'm personally trying to manage is separating this energy from this energy.
Yeah.
Last night, it's weird last night, and I was like, oh,
that's not you. Yeah. So what happens when I'm really engaged in a course and I end up being in the students, at the end of it, I really need to be alone and not be with anyone and just pull back into myself. Because it's quite draining to stay expanded. Give them around 5 more minutes.
Okay. He smiles around. Lots of discussion.
5 more minutes. Let me check the camera. Hi everyone watching live. Just to tell you what's happening, we're having a little discussion on when was the last time you felt energy in your body and how did it feel? And we've just found out that around 90% of the people in this room, there are 33 people here, and 90% of them have felt energy in the body. And the point of this is to just prove by probability that if 90% of people felt energy, it's probably real. Even before we told them what it is. It's the whole point. If I sit down, can you check if the camera sees me? Is it? Have them move a little. Try. I don't know if we can move the camera. Okay, check it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Last 2 minutes. Oh, is someone calling me? Hello? Hi, good morning. Yes, I'm good. Okay. Oh, okay. It's yeah, yeah, sure. I understand. I understand. Okay. Um, I I think 5 per person, yes, per day. No, let me check it first. Okay. What you asking? Like a flat rate for me, regardless of the number of students, or a flat rate for me per student per day? Per day, a flat rate for me per day. Okay. Let me let me get back to you. Yes. Can I get back to you in around 2 hours? Yeah. You need to submit it now. What is his is his uh is his recommendation wait, 600 per day. What did I put there in the PowerPoint? 650, 600, something like that. For all. So okay. Okay, I'm good with that. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, time's up. In 5, 4, 3, 2, you can chat more in lunch. 1, okay. I know it's amazing that most of you. Someone asked me the other day, Evelina and I were having a talk of how to deal with the mindset of how can you prove that the chakras really exist? Or how can you prove, that kind of mindset? And I told her to tell them, well, how can you prove that they don't exist? Because most people, if they've done enough yoga, will feel their chakras. And so, how can you prove they don't exist? I can grab your toes and I can see your nadis and tell you where you're blocked. How can you prove to me that I'm making this up? You know? So the point is that the yoga perspective of the universe is a more broader perspective than what we um, explore with the tools we have in modern science, simply because the sciences that we use in the world today are called material sciences, meaning they study the material world. The chakras are not in the material world, they're astral. And I'll speak about that in a while. You need astral instruments to perceive astral things. And the only astral instrument we have is our pineal gland. So we have we have the capability of perceiving things that cannot be measured materially, but we've not been able to invent an actual physical machine yet. You never know that can do that for us. Okay, and this is where the gray area between science and chakras. We're trying to interpret a higher technology with very primitive instruments. This is what's happening now. So how can you prove that the chakras exist? How can you prove that they don't? That's it. I can make you feel your chakras even if you don't believe in them. Now prove that they don't exist. You understand me? Okay, maybe we'll do that later. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is energy anatomy, and we're going to spend the whole day on it. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about the chakras. So I'm saving the chakras for last, because that's like the exciting part. Now we're going to give you the background. Okay, we are beams of light. Everything in the universe is vibration, but there are different vibrations. When you take a white light and you pass it through a crystal, it splits into different colors on the wall. So those colors on the wall are the same light. Everything in the material universe is actually vibration. 90% space that is vibrating with different energies. Our body is 99% space because there's space between the atoms that create this body. Even the floor is 99% space. In fact, when you put your hand on the floor, the atoms in your hand and the atoms of the floor are actually not separate. They kind of mash into each other because they're flowing through this space. However, we feel the floor as separate because of the 5 senses that we have to feel reality with. Okay? Quantum physics will tell you this. Okay? This is not stuff I made up because, this is quantum physics, that we are 99% space. And it's just that my hand and the floor are vibrating at a different frequency. And that's why I feel separate from the floor. And my ego consciousness, oh my God, it's my mom. Hang on. I'm just going to she's been calling me all morning. Just silence my phone. Sorry, Mom. Okay. All right. What was I saying? So your ego consciousness will record you as separate from the floor. Yeah? But if I had the power to change the vibration of my body, I could actually go through the floor. Yeah, but no one in this age knows how to do that. Okay, that I know. Okay, so let's talk about the body blueprint that yoga is working with, because this is why yoga works. It's called the Pancha Kosha system. Pancha Kosha. Panch means 5. So this means 5. And Kosh means shell. The 5 shells or layers of the human being. Okay, 5 shells or layers of human being. And the chunkiest, noisiest layer, the one that we have complete perception of most of the time, is our physical body. It's like the peel of an onion. Our physical body is the noisiest, the chunkiest part of you. The part of you that you know best. You see it in the mirror, you touch it, you move around with it, it bumps into things. The five senses help you feel your physical body and help you feel the other physical bodies that are actually part of you but that you feel separate from. Okay? The five senses. And the frequency of your physical body is earth. So the elemental frequency of your physical body is earth. In Sanskrit, the physical body is called the Anandamaya kosha. And the fuel of the physical body is food. So the fuel of the physical body is food. Sometimes they call it the food body because it's made up of all the food that you've eaten. How many of you have listened to the TED talk that Manish sent you about Satguru talking about Samadhi? Raise your hand. 8%. Okay. Interesting thing that Satguru says in that TED talk. It's a really interesting talk. Maybe I'll play it to all of you. Okay? Is he says that he would meditate and eat a piece of bread, and after an hour or two, he can actually feel the piece of bread becoming part of his body. Because everything you eat, most of it becomes your body. Makes you think about what you put in yourself, right? Think twice. Annamaya kosha, or food body. And sometimes, for some people, we cannot feel the other bodies too well because our senses, hearing, smell, taste, touch, sight, are usually trained outward. We are looking outward. We're smelling things outside. We're hearing things outside. We're touching our outside environment so that we feel that there's only the body and nothing more. But the truth is that once you turn your senses inward, then it actually helps you to see the quieter parts of you that your physical body is distracting you from. Yes? Like the crickets. They're outward. And if you keep focusing on them, you won't be able to hear what I'm saying. But once you turn your senses to me, after a while, they won't bother you anymore. Understand? See? You have the ability to choose. You are not a slave of your environment and your senses. Okay. So we're going to the layer underneath the physical body that also might be very much accessible once we stop moving. So now we're not moving, yes? If your body's not moving, what's moving? Close your eyes. If your body's not moving, what's moving? The breathing. Beautiful. So now we have what we call the breath body. Okay, and I'll give it a name. Pranamaya kosha. And breath is actually a physical way of perceiving energy. So this is actually our energy body. Our energy body is actually not physical. It's not on earth plane. The element of energy is actually water, because our energy channels are like rivers that flow through our body. They flow through your body. And if you open the right valve, you're going to have this incredible cascade of energy that's going to push all the bullshit out of you. This is what we do in Himalayan Kriya Yoga, which I'll make you feel this afternoon. Okay? So the energy body flows like water in any direction, up, down, or sideways. But the element is water. And later on, after the koshas, we're going to talk about the nadis. The nadis are the rivers of energy that flow through your body. Okay, so I'm going to talk about them. But aside from being water, the energy body is also linked to astral reality. Your aura, astral. Your chakras, astral. Your energy channels, astral. The spirits that are walking around us now, astral. Because they're the energy signatures of beings that once were here. Okay, this is all not physical. So you will never see it in a physical way. Okay, someone asked me, do you believe in those instruments that you put your hands in it and they can read your aura? And I'm like, well, I can grab your toes, and if what I see matches up with what they tell you, then probably, yeah. You know what I mean? Because the pineal gland is the best astral instrument. Any physical instrument will not be able to give you an accurate reading. Okay, this I really believe in at now, in this state that we're in. Okay, all right, so pranamaya kosha, energy body, water, astral dimension. The fuel is prana. Prana is the fuel. What is prana? It's vital force. Yes, thank you. Vital force is not just breathing. Prana, we have a little prana that we absorb with our food, very little. Especially if it's like live food, like raw plants have the most prana. But that's not the only way we can get prana. We can get prana through breathing. We can get prana through sunlight. So there's different avenues. We can get prana when people give us hugs. You know how when your mom used to hug you and you feel better? You ever wonder why? And how come when your mom cooks you food, you feel it just tastes better? Because she loves you and the love is going into the food and you're taking. So we absorb prana in different ways. Okay, and this absorbed prana is the fuel for your energy field. And so if you stop breathing, so let's try it for a few seconds. We're going to stop moving and we're going to stop breathing. So everyone now, sit tall, stop moving, and stop breathing. I'm just going to count silently. Tell me what happens, okay? Ready? Close your eyes so you don't get distracted. Go. And relax and breathe again. What happened? What started moving when you stopped moving and you stopped breathing? What was moving? Hmm? What was moving? Don't move your butt. Wasn't this guy going crazy? Oh my God, when is she going to tell us to breathe? Oh my God, it's been 10 seconds. You know, so the mind. Yes, so the mental thinking processes, your thinking mind. The name of the Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha. which is the thinking mind, the analysis, the analyzer, the thinking mind. There are different parts of your mind. This is the one that's always analyzing stuff. Oh my God, it's been 10 seconds already. If she keeps this up, I'm going to have a heart attack. That's the thinking mind. Or, am I actually still breathing? I think I'm still breathing a little bit. I can feel the air. It's a little bit. There's a little bit of air. Thinking mind. Okay? So your thinking mind is a part of the brain that analyzes the data from your senses. The thinking mind is a part of the brain that analyzes the data from your senses and files it away in what's known as your reference library. And we all have a reference library in our brain because when we see something, like I'll see this, and my thinking mind will connect it to a concept pillar in my reference library. Okay? I'll hear the crickets, and my thinking mind will, they're actually, see, my thinking mind is telling me now, they're not crickets, they're cicadas, FYI. Okay? So that's the thinking mind. Okay? However, that's not the only part of your mind, but that's the noisiest one because it's always on. Because our senses never shut off. Even when you're asleep, you still have your senses. That's why if you're asleep and someone tries to wake you up by calling your name, you'll hear them. Because your thinking mind and your senses are permanently on 24/7. And that's why the mind is so distracting when we sit in silence and try to meditate. Because the thinking mind is like, you're still thinking. You're still thinking. Let's think of nothing. Oh my God, nothing's a thought. That's a thinking mind. Okay? And the reason why we meditate actually is to perceive reality beyond the thinking mind, the breath, and the physical body. To feel the quieter parts of you that do exist and might give you some clarity about who you are, why shit happens to you, and what to do about it. And so now let's look at those really internal, it's very internal parts of you that if you tap and you can feel them and access them, will actually make life a lot easier. And I'll explain why in a while. So if we do enough meditation and we could sit still and not breathe and not think, none of you are here yet. Okay, maybe one. There's something that you could feel, and it's still a part of your brain. But it's a part of your brain that knows without thinking. So which part of your brain knows without thinking?
Subconscious.
The subconscious brain knows without thinking. It feels. Subconscious brain is the receptacle of your feelings. Your feelings about your experiences are filed subconsciously. Like, for example, someone's alcoholic. The reason why they were alcoholic is because their father used to only bare his heart when he was drinking. And so she associated alcohol with love. And because she wanted to be loved, she drank. But she didn't know that that was the reason because it's subconscious. Until one day she meditated and realized and got cured of her alcoholism. That's me, by the way. Okay? So the subconscious mind and the thinking mind, they don't really communicate because they're speaking different language. One speaking maybe Chinese and the other one is speaking like Spanish. Completely, we'll never understand each other. Okay? So we need to listen to them independently. And The thinking mind needs to be quiet so you could feel, and the thinking mind will never be able to understand why the subconscious knows. For example, this mom tells her son, son, just don't go out today. I just feel like something bad might happen to you. Maybe you should just stay home and not go to work today, and not go on that trip or whatever. And the son would go, well, you just worry too much. Goes to work, gets into a car accident, right? So how does the mother know this ahead of time? And if you ask her, so how did you know that that would happen? She'll be like, I don't know, I just felt it, right? Because you cannot reason it, because that's not part of your brain in charge of reasoning. And so what we call this shell layer of you as a person is Vijnanamaya Kosha. So Vigyan is like receiving knowledge, Vijnanamaya. You will see it spelled differently. I'm spelling it the way you pronounce it. But you will see it written down like this. Vijnana. Vijnana. Actually, the pronunciation is Vijnanamaya. But for some reason, they decided to use a J for English spelling instead of the Y, which is what it sounds like. But it's Vijnanamaya Kosha, okay? And this is your intuitive body, psychic body, emotional body. Intuitive, psychic, emotional body. It's part of you. Everyone has psychic powers. Everyone. We just don't believe it. We've been told that it's imagination. When you're a kid and your parents said, no, this is just your imagination, it stops. Yeah? Okay. So everyone does have the ability to perceive things that you cannot explain. We've just been trained by this current age to block these things out. But these things can be retrained. I'll tell you a beautiful story. You know Wissam. You all know Wissam. He has the gift of manifestation. Anything that he wants will happen. That's why there's 33 of you in the middle of the COVID crisis. Okay? Because he has the power of manifestation. And this is from this shell of you. I remember once he just founded House of Home in Dubai, and he needed a maid to help clean it up because it's this huge mansion villa, lots of rooms, and only one of him. And he's like, I'm going to spend the whole day cleaning if I don't get someone to help me. So he's sitting in his kitchen going, I need to find a maid. And something in his mind told him, walk outside your house and open the gate. Normally, if he were anybody else, he would be like, no, I don't feel like walking right now. I mean, that's kind of silly. I have no reason to walk outside my gate. And it's like 1 p.m. in Dubai. It's around 60 degrees. So there's no way I'm doing that. But no, he's with Sam. So he walked outside his gate, and there was this Sri Lankan lady crossing the street. And he asked her, do you know anyone that wants to have a job as a maid in the villa? And she's like, yeah, me. Okay? This is the power of the Vijnanamaya Kosha. You cannot explain it logically, but it will make your life so much easier. If you could listen to intuition, you don't have to work so hard to get stuff. Yeah, but you need to listen to the other part of your brain, not always the one that thinks. And that needs to be retrained. And we do that through yoga and meditation. You retrain yourself to listen to the other parts of your brain that are probably more powerful than the thinking mind. Because the thinking mind cannot possibly know everything. The speed of light is in the Vedas. The speed, do you remember what the Vedas are? Oh my God, you better for 1 point in your exam. What are the Vedas? The earliest? Yeah. Oldest book that mentions practices of yoga. It's the oldest literary evidence of yoga. It's called the Vedas. The speed of light is there. They didn't have any instruments to measure the speed of light. They used their Maya Kosha. Okay. Okay. All right. So Maya Kosha, intuitive psychic shell, is not even astral, is not mental. The thinking mind, the senses fuel the thinking mind. So the fuel of the thinking mind is the senses. Because the senses feed the thinking mind information. So the fuel is the senses, feeding data into your thinking mind. And that's what the thinking mind's running on, the data of the senses. Okay? You need to give it something to analyze for it to keep running. Okay? But this guy is actually connected to something bigger than you. And that's why the knowledge library of your Maya Kosha is way bigger than your physical body can hold. And that's how Wissam knew that if he walked outside of his house at that particular time, he would get a maid. Because the intuitive body is connected to your higher self. You understand me? Intuitive body is connected to your higher self. In whatever frequency your higher self trickles down from, and I'll explain this in a while. So, that's not the end of you, though. I'm going to put a little om in the middle here. That's not the end of you. Because in the very, very core of you is your soul. And your soul isn't just a separate dot from everything else. It's connected to everything else. It's like a cord connecting you to everything else. Okay? Think of the ocean and rivers coming from one ocean. All the waters of the world are one. All the waters of the world are one. Because from the river, you can get to the ocean, and from any ocean, you can get to any other ocean. So that's like saying that we're all one. We're all these rivers, and we're all connected to the giant ocean that is everything. And a little dot inside of us is like the reminder of this, and that's your soul. And that soul is the pilot for this body. You drive this body. It's like your car is not really you, it's just the thing you're driving. And then you park it and you leave. This body is like that. Okay? You might park your body somewhere, but you won't cease to exist. You keep going because you're connected to everything else. Okay? So that's your soul. In yoga philosophy of the Panchakosha system, we call this, it's got a really beautiful name, Anandamaya. Ananda means joy. Ananda means joy. So our soul in yoga has a beautiful name. It's called the body of joy. And that gives you an idea of, in your very core, you are bliss. Your soul is always celebrating the connection with everything. But we can't feel it because we've got all this other stuff piled on top of it. That's noisier. We cannot hear the song inside. We cannot hear the song of creation that's always ongoing in the very center of all the atoms of your body. And once you've heard that song, your life is never the same. Because then the illusion of being separate from everything is not there anymore. Okay? So, this is the Panchakosha system. And this soul and this Maya Kosha, these two, are not anymore physical. They're not even astral. They're connected to a plane of reality called the causal realm. Have you heard of the causal realm? Okay. Causal reality is a higher vibration than the astral worlds and than the physical body. I'll explain it this way. A movie was created by some video production company. Some production house made this movie. The movie got put in a projector. That's the causal realm. In the movie house, they turned the projector on, and these lights traveled through the air and hit the screen. You are sitting in the theater looking at the wall, and you see the movie playing on the wall. But is the movie on the wall? Really? No. So if you're watching Jurassic Park and you try to save the man from being eaten by the dinosaur, will you be successful if you try to like touch the wall and kind of like throw shit at the wall? And, in my country, we've got this like movie star hero. If he ever dies in a movie, people will pull out their guns and shoot at the screen, you know what I mean? But that's not going to help, right? Because it's the projection is not the real. It's only the one you're experiencing with your senses. So you're watching the dinosaur chase the human being and you're going, ah, and your heart's beating and you can hear it. But is that real? No. And if you try to do anything about it, there's nothing you can do about it. Right? This is why it's so hard for us to change from the physical dimension our karma. Why does this always happen to me? Oh, I've got into this situation again. Oh, my neck hurts again. My shoulder hurts again. I tried all these stretches. It still hurts. You understand me? Okay. But if you could raise your hand and make bunny ears on the beam of light that's coming from the projector, like when you were in school and they had projectors, I don't know if you were old enough to reach those times. When you were in school, maybe you're in fourth grade or something, and they play this projector and all the kids would raise their hands and make little bunny ears. The teacher would go, put your hands down, You know? So by putting your hand in the beam, you could change the screen. Right? Put your hand in the beam. Now the projection is different. That beam represents astral reality. Astral reality. So if this is how energy healers work. We're not changing your physical body. We're putting our finger in the beam so that the projection on the screen is different. Because reality first starts in the projector, in the causal realms, trickles through the astral realms, and then manifests physically. That's why you have a dream and you dream about the future and then it happens. How many of you had a dream that you dreamt something and then it happened? Raise your hand so everyone can see how many people in the room have their hands up. Most people. Did you talk to each other before this? Right? Okay, there we go. So, but if you really want to change your reality, you can call Steven Spielberg on the phone and go, let's not make the dinosaur eat this guy right now because, the G audience will not be able to watch this movie. So maybe you should just change the script. Okay, this is, if you're close enough to the director, you can change your script. And high vibrational beings who have worked on themselves through lifetimes have this ability. We call them gurus. Okay? All right. Guru means bringer of light. Ru is light. Yeah, bringer of light. It doesn't really mean teacher. It means bringer of light. Okay. All right. So this is you. And this is every human being. So we are more than, this is why yoga works. What's the difference between yoga and gymnastics? It's all physical. But we involve much more in our yogic sciences. Yoga is a science, it's an art, it's a science. We involve much more in our yogic sciences because we understand completely what people are. We are all frequencies exploring the material universe with our instruments of body and mind. But we are not the body and we are not the mind. So remember when I asked you, what are you if you're not your name, your heritage, your culture, your job, your family, the place that you're in? Who are you? You are a frequency. Now you understand? That's expressing itself uniquely, in a unique way that is specific to why you're here and your role in the bigger picture. Okay? And the more you are able to know who you are in this way, the more functional and effective you are as a human being. And the easier life becomes. Because it's hard to swim upstream. It's easy to just go with the flow. If you can trust that the stream is bringing you where you need to be, there's no need to swim. Just lie down and float and enjoy it. You know, life is so much nicer that way than to try to push against reality. Who are you to do that? Who are you? Right? Okay, so this is the kosha system. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, earth, water. This one is fire. Fire. That's why when someone's really intelligent, what kind of language do we use in English? We say they're very bright. Oh, you're very bright. You know? So fire element, the more fire element you have, the more your thinking mind has the ability to do its thing. Okay? And then we have the Vijnanamaya kosha is emotions, feelings. Element is air. And this one, the element is space or ether. Okay. Okay. From heaviest and chunkiest element to lightest element. Okay. Anandamaya. Well, the, the fuel of the Anandamaya is everything, the big ocean that you're coming from. So big ocean of you, which is everything, we call Paramatma. So the big ocean of you, Paramatma, means everything, like existence itself. You, Jivatma, the person. Paramatma is everything, and you've got this little river of you, Jivatma. Okay, so Jivatma is like the individual soul. Paramatma is everything. Jivatma, Jivatma. Jivatma. Okay? Okay. Hmm? Causal realm. The causal realm is Paramatma deciding to express itself through time, space, gravity. So everything starts, God blinks an eye, and the whole world shudders. Do you understand the analogy? Everything starts in the causal realm. Of course, because we are all, yeah, we are all the universe itself. We are all the universe itself. Okay, pure consciousness expressing itself through time, space, and gravity. At least in the human experience, this is our perception of everything, the universe itself. We can only perceive the universe based on our own faculties to perceive. Does that make sense now, the causal realm? So, like in the causal realm, one day, we all had a meeting, and you guys said, we're going to be your students. And I said, all right. And now here we are. Understand? Okay. Yes.
So all we students here, so we are in kind of the same vibration, right?
Yeah, we are all in the same, you can call yourselves like a soul family. You're a certain vibration that's similar and moving in the same direction. Because you're all here for maybe a like-minded reason, for going through this experience together, and you're here to support each other. You know, so we call these kinds of gatherings like a sangha or a soul family. In Buddhist, we use the word sangha to mean gathering of like-minded people who are supporting each other as they walk the journey together. Okay, and if you want to know how that's spelled, it's Sangha, Sangha. And I think in Hinduism it's Sangam, which means, again, supporting each other as they walk in the same direction towards self-development. Okay. Yes.
It's very common to say we are what we eat, but in reality, we are what we digest, and we are what we absorb, if not be more specific.
That is true.
It seems the same, but it's not important.
That is true. Because if you had, most people are not able to do this because we're very much subconscious in our knowing. And that's why we are what we eat. Most people are not conscious. And they're just maybe living in autopilot. Definitely for those people, they are what they eat. But if you were conscious about what you absorb and had the power to only absorb selectively, then your statement would be correct. Like I know someone like he's very high, my son actually, he's very high vibrational and he likes to experiment. And what he can actually do is he's vegetarian for a long time and he does pranayama and energy work. But what he can do now, he's decided one day he got stuck for the summer with his dad and there was no vegetarian food at his dad's house. And he figured out a way to eat meat and allow the low vibration of the meat to go back into planet Earth and only keep the high frequency. Most people can't do that. If that was true, then you are what you absorb. Otherwise, for most people, you are what you eat. And that's why for most people, you need to watch what you eat because it's going to affect you. Agoris and left-handed tantrics eat meat because they have this ability. Most people don't. Yeah. Okay. Yes, last question. Then we move on.
What I experienced the last years more often is that sometimes I learn something through the thinking mind,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really experience or feel it. And years later, I feel and say, or turn around, so I see. I
Yeah.
felt something, experienced something, but I didn't know what it was. And years later, so what's the reason for it?
Because the thinking mind and the intuitive mind don't communicate. But there is a part of you that can bridge the gap. So I'm going to erase this so that I can explain. Are you cool with this? Okay, I'm going to erase this now. Okay, you have three parts of your mind. Okay, so let's look at the mind more, because this also will help us to understand why yoga works. So you have three parts of your mind. Manas, the thinking mind, which is Manomaya Kosha. Manas, the thinking mind. And then we have intuition, and then we have something called ahamkara, which is the ego. Buddhi, the higher mind, or this is Vijnanamaya Kosha. This is Manomaya Kosha. They don't talk to each other. Your sense of self can bridge the gap by, 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 by your experience of life. So this is sense of self. Sense of self bridges the gap. This is your ego, sense of self. Ego is not a bad thing. It's a mechanism that helps you to process this individual journey. So you're saying, I had an experience that I couldn't explain, but I am witnessing that experience that I am having. I had a thought that I couldn't explain. I I absorbed some information that I couldn't understand. But then years later, I felt that information. So this ego actually bridges the gap. It's not a bad thing, the ego. It's only bad if you feel that that's all you have. Understand? It's not bad. The ego is a mechanism for us to explore this individual expression of light. It keeps you from jumping off that balcony. None of us are going to jump because we have an ego. If we didn't, one of us would have jumped by now. You understand? It's a good thing. Okay? But sometimes when you feel that's all you have, it's not so good anymore. Does that answer your question? Okay. So I'm going to move on now. We're still talking about how we are beyond the body and we can experience beyond through our yogic practices. Now let's look at energy itself. So we're going into the pranamaya kosha and we're going to learn about nadis. So a nadi is an energy channel inside your body. The nadi is an energy channel inside your body. And according to the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, this book that was written on Hatha Yoga around when Columbus discovered America, according to the yogi of that book, we have 72,000 nadis in the body. You can think of nadi as meridian lines. In the Chinese system, they have mapped the meridian lines for health and sanity. So in acupuncture, they've got all these different labels and different points and hundreds of points throughout the body that if you stick a pin in here, you will have this result. If you stick a pin in here, you will have this result. I think in certain parts of China, though it costs a shit ton of money, on the form, when you have an open heart surgery, you can choose A, acupuncture, B, drugs. And if you choose A, acupuncture, they stick the needles in the right place and you can have open heart surgery without any anesthesia. You won't feel anything. This is the Chinese system has mapped the Meridian Lines to a very high degree. However, in the Indian side, they put more importance on the nadis that help us to liberate from suffering and the human condition itself. Okay. So, have you heard of this word, moksha? Manish has told you maybe about moksha. The idea of being free from suffering. The idea of being free from suffering. Why do we suffer? Yeah, so that's called desire. We're chasing things that we want or expect, plus aversion. We run away from things that we find uncomfortable. This is why we suffer. And when you apply energy through the right channel, according to yogic science, you can free yourself from that. It's sticking your hand up to manipulate the beam before it hits the screen. Which I don't remember what I said. It's on YouTube. Watch it again. Am I really present? I'm present enough to move my mouth. Okay. Okay. So here we nadis are energy channels. Okay. Let's look at the most important energy channels for the yoga journey. Okay. They tie in with your nervous system. Okay. They tie in with your nervous system. So it's not that esoteric. Okay, so I'm going to use the nervous system as a jumping off point to help us explain these nadis more. So I'm going to try to draw a person best I can. Okay, this is your right and left brain. There. Those are actually brains. This is the left brain. This is the brain, promise. This is the right brain. Here are your eyes. Those are eyes. This is your head, okay? There, it kind of looks like a person. Sorry. That's why I'm a yoga teacher, no? Can't draw for shit. Okay, that's a person, okay? With a really small neck. Okay, these are your arms. I know, right? Those are his feet. Okay, so this is a person, okay? Promise, it's a person. Little hands. T-Rex arms. Okay, so we have a right and left brain. And the right side of your brain, oh wait, can we do it the other way, like you're in a mirror? Can we mirror? Okay, make it easier. This is your right brain, and this is your left brain, okay? Okay, it's mirrored, okay. This is the left side of the body. Let's just label it so the visual people don't get confused. And this is the right side of your body. Medically, it is proven by science that the left side of your body is connected, the left side of your brain is connected to the right side of your body. Oh, it died already. Okay. So left side of your brain is connected to the right side of your body. And the right side of your brain is connected to the left side of your body. Okay? The energy channels that we need to balance in Hatha Yoga are called the Ida and the Pingala. And the Ida is actually right brain, left body. And the Pingala is actually left brain, right body. So let's do this so we remember. Put your left hand on your left foot and say Ida Nadi and the Ida Nadi is the moon, the feminine principle in you, because this is the left brain, the right brain in charge of art, intuition, movement. The right brain is in charge of creativity, dancing, interpretation of shapes, colors, feelings, sound. Okay? That's the right brain, left body. Your right brain, left side of your body, is the feminine energy in you, called the Ida Nadi, symbol the moon. Okay? So if you look at my tattoos, I have those things. I'm going to wear socks in the exam. You can't cheat. Okay? Now take your right hand to your right foot and trace up to the left side of your brain and say Pingala Nadi. Pingala Nadi. The Pingala Nadi is symbol masculine in you. Maths, geometry. That's completely different from what's happening around you. So you're not helpless. Drive your own karma. I had met this Jivamukti teacher. He used to say that all the time. Drive your own karma. You know. Yeah.
What is your perspective on the energy of Bali?
Yeah, this is the Kundalini Center because it's got two serpents flowing through it, one from South America, one from Australia, from sacred points in the world. And that's why Kundalini is very much active here. So there's I think the rainbow serpent from South America, it's a nadi of the world. The world, planet Earth has nadis. Planet Earth has chakras. And there's one coming up from Australia. And the two of them are meeting, the male and female energies of the earth are meeting here. And that's why you come here and you have any kind of Kundalini opening and you're just going to be like, holy shit, you know. It's because we are sitting on one of the Kundalini hotspots of planet Earth. And that's why Bali attracts yogis and dancers and artists, musicians. Because all of these flows run on Kundalini. Because Kundalini is the creative force of the universe. Yes.
I have this concern because I'm going back to my country and I've not been there for the past 2 years. And I am trying to work on myself so my environment doesn't affect me, but there's a tangible issue of the violence and the actual risks you do take every day. So how do you cope with that environment not being real and the actual danger you're put in?
Two things. One, and we'll talk about this in the chakras, work on Muladhara. Have a very strong earth connection. Because when your root chakra is strong and you're very connected to the earth, earth is protection. Earth is immunity. Earth is power. So if you have a strong Muladhara, things might happen to other people, they won't happen to you. Yeah. Like the Buddha, he was walking in a forest. Someone wanted to stab him, but this guy ran up to him and he tripped on a tree branch. If it were any other person, they would have gotten stabbed. Okay? Work on Muladhara. And work on your heart space. Because your heart space is your auric field expanding. And when your auric field has expanded a lot, it's kind of a buffer zone. Okay, it's a buffer zone for stuff. And if that stuff doesn't resonate with that pure love that you're generating and transmitting, it's not going to reach you. If it does, it was meant to. You were meant to go through it. Deal with it. Because you can. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen to you. This story about Swami Rama. Swami Rama is my guru's teacher. And he was walking in Himalayas in this place called Rishikesh, which maybe you've heard of. He was in the market, and he passed by one of the stalls and said, "Can I borrow your towel?" So the guy handed him his towel, and he took the towel, and he walked around 5 meters. Then this old crumbling apart building, one of the rocks broke loose and fell on Swami Rama's head and cut him open and started bleeding, and he got the towel and he put it on his head. And the merchant said, "Well, if you knew that would happen to you, why didn't you just avoid it?" And he said, "Because if I avoided it, something worse would happen. I was meant to go through it, so I just allowed it." Because what we judge as bad or good may not actually be bad or good. Nature is not bad or good. Nature is just there. It's what we project that will determine the experience. So let's work on ourselves so that we can have a beautiful projection of ourselves back. Yeah.
And you could kind of think of it as you're not working on yourself, but you're working on this one piece of the greater ocean.
Yes, and that's why we're here.
That your ocean piece is dealing with this part of the water cycle. Or
Yes,
it's not
exactly.
you, like, separating from it.
Exactly. It's and if we all did that, then things would shift. That's why we're here. Right? So we can learn to work on our piece of the ocean. Right? It's beautiful if you think about it that way. Yeah. So again, Idan Pingala need to balance. The Kundalini rises up to Shushumna, and you are liberated from suffering. Because Kundalini is the permanent eradicator of your karma. And it's something that when you're ready will happen to you. If it's happened to you, find someone to talk to about it. It's real. You're not going crazy. Okay? I can tell if you're really crazy or not. Because all these stories of people having Kundalini experiences, they all match up. Individually, you think you're crazy, but you're all going through the same thing. Okay? You're not crazy. Okay? There's always someone that will understand you. Okay? Right. Okay, so that's Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna, the most important for Hatha Yoga out of the 72,000 nadis of the body. Other traditions talk about other nadis, but for Hatha Yoga, we're just going to stick to these three. Okay? Okay. And what we're going to talk about next Thursday, the chakras, where we've taken the Sushumna and we kind of divided it into segments, and those are the chakras. So the chakras are all in Sushumna. Okay, and we'll talk about the chakras in Thursday. Okay. Okay. So Hatha Yoga. Oh my God, the black pens you gave me aren't erasable. So only the important stuff has remained. Only reality has remained. Everything else is illusion. Huh?
You draw
Over it, yeah, I'll do that later. Sanitizer also works. The stuff you put on your hands, it erases permanent marker, just to let you know. Okay, thank you. You can use it. Okay. So you're clear with the concept of karma. You're clear with the concept of Kundalini. Yes. You're clear with the concept of the causal, astral, and physical bodies. Right? Now, let's talk about something called. So this links up with karma. There's a bigger concept called samskara. And in yoga, we believe, and it might not be in your religious framework, but in yoga, we believe that we have multiple lives, not just one life. Okay, so in yoga, we believe we have multiple lives. And samskara, it's like the unburned karma from previous lives. You had a life, you did some stuff, but the universe wasn't able to pay you back in that life. So you carry that karma with you to your next life. And these are like little toxic pimples in your body that come up when you least expect it. How do you know you're toxic? Oh, I got a pimple, so I'm toxic somewhere inside of me. Maybe I ate something bad a few days ago. I didn't realize it. I thought I was okay. And now I see the pimple. I know I'm toxic. This is the same concept of karma and samskara. Yes, you're. That means that there are still some scaras there that are not yet eradicated, that there's still something that they need to work on. That means they're going about it the wrong way. They're going about it the wrong way. They're going up the wrong street. They're going the wrong way. However they're choosing to deal with it is not working. That's not the way that they should deal with it. Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. Because these samskaras are usually in our body, in our mind, and in our events that happen to you, are all there to show you that there's something that you need to change. And if it hasn't changed, you're going about it the wrong way. You're looking in the wrong place. Yeah. 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 Okay. So one thing I can say for you, so how to help someone you feel they have a samskara they're not seeing. They refuse to see it. Maybe even if you told them, they would not listen. Well, then just be like life and mirror it back to them. Yeah. Maybe you will. work on yourself, and hopefully it will rub off on them. I've seen that happen though. I've seen that happen where you work on someone, let's say you've got this family, and only one person in the family does yoga, one person only. And that one person is able to deal proactively with a lot of the samskaras and eradicate and generate a lot of good karma and raise their frequency. You watch, the whole family will shift. Why? Because there's no separation between anyone, and especially if you're connected through the heart, you raise your frequency, they're all surfing your wave. Even if they're not doing anything, this is for you. Even if they're not doing anything and you don't have to explain to them what's going on, the mere fact that you're there, it pulls them all up, whether they know it or not. So we work on ourselves.
It's like the quote from Gandhi, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," because that vibrates out and comes back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way to deal with it. You know? And really, I've seen it happen.
There is also, I don't know if you know Beneficio, Hermes Beneficio, you know it?
Mm-hmm.
He said thousands of years ago, what is above is below, what is inside is outside.
Yeah, there's no
So
separation.
we can apply it to, when we come back to our country, if we have a different energy, we react in a different way, even if it's so the environment is going to change.
Yeah. All you need to do now is sustain the frequency by working on yourself. Working on yourself is called sadhana. Giving you more Sanskrit terms. Have you heard of this? Sadhana. Sadhana means regular, disciplined, devoted practice. By devoted, we mean that it's almost you're not only committed to it, it's like your way of saying thank you to God through doing this. You understand what devoted means? It's your way of saying thank you to God for doing this. You're doing it for the sake of doing it, not because you want something in return, and not because you're going to have superpowers. You're doing it for the sake of doing it. It's gratitude. Regular, disciplined, devoted practice is called sadhana. And if you do sadhana, you're called sadhak, which is someone on the path of spiritual improvement. Someone on the path of spiritual improvement is a sadhak who does sadhana to eradicate their samskaras so that life will become a more magical and amazing thing, not only for them, but for everyone. Okay, not only for them, but for everyone. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. And this is why we're doing yoga. It all comes back to triangle right, triangle left. So we can balance Ida and Pingala. Okay, then everything will fall into place. Okay. So sometimes when you're going through a tough time, we try our best to avoid it. We try our best to do what we can to alleviate it. But if nothing works, what do we do? Surrender and accept it. Because when you look back over your shoulder a year or 2 years or